not 1,000 pieces of fan fiction about this, like, what are people even doing? What are they doing?
Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through worm. I'm Jenny.
and I'm Ted.
And we read Buzz 7.4.
Buzz. Kind of a pivot chapter between Taylor's home life, quote unquote, and a Cape-involved conflict to come.
I am starting to pick up that the arcs tend to go like that. It's not home anymore, obviously, but like there's the intra-Undersider business that takes up the first few chapters, and then we move into sort of the broader Cape world. There's always some kind of big thing happening.
Or, maybe it will just be more character and conversation chapters like this one, which is great, and I'm just, leading you in the wrong direction.
Very devious. So do you want to tell us what happened in this chapter?
I would love to. So we pick up with Brian arriving at the dog warehouse. He immediately notices that something has gone down here and is concerned that Bitch and Taylor haven't left yet. Bitch explains that that was her decision and she does not want to leave. Brian and Taylor raise several objections to this and eventually get through to her. Taylor convinces Bitch that it would not be running away, but it would be a tactical retreat to protect the dogs so that the Undersiders could come back against Empire 88 from a position of strength later. And Bitch likes the sound of this. She looks to Brian to confirm that he also is saying, yes, we will come back and fight later. And that's good enough for her. So she decides she's going to go. She's going to bring the dogs. Brian goes to call Coil. And Bitch and Taylor are gathering the dogs. And they have a moment alone without Brian. And out of the blue, Bitch says, "You like him." And Taylor is totally caught off guard, but realizes that she can't lie to Bitch because Bitch will find it annoying. So she confesses, yes, she likes Brian. And Bitch then goes on to give her some unsolicited advice that Taylor should offer to sleep with Brian because that's what guys like. And Taylor is also completely flabbergasted by this statement and the weird, tense hostility that Bitch has while having this conversation. But she comes to understand it as Bitch reaching out to her, looking out for her as a friend, and giving her friendly advice. And it's kind of like, oh yeah, thanks for saying that. And Bitch is like, whatever, I don't care. Do what you want. And Brian comes back, and he hasn't been able to reach Coil or Lisa or Alec in order to get a hold of, some dog transportation so that Bitch and the dogs can leave. And Bitch says she's going to stay here. Brian and Taylor don't think that's a great idea, but Bitch will not leave the dogs. And Brian and Taylor are eventually like, okay, fine, you stay here with the dogs. We'll go back to the loft as quickly as possible, figure out why we can't get a hold of anyone. And on the way back to the loft, they talk about Brian's frustrations dealing with Bitch, how Taylor has some insights into her personality. Taylor does not explain about the dog brain thing. She has some other pearls of wisdom, though, including suggesting that if Brian wants to be seen as a real authority figure to Bitch, that he might want to officially become the leader of the Undersiders. And yeah, Brian opens up a little. They talk a little bit about Empire 88. And they eventually get back to the loft. They're arming up because they're not sure if they're going to be getting into a fight right away. But when they get into the loft, Alec's on the couch watching TV. Lisa's there on her computer and on the phone. And Lisa's in the middle of kind of a stressful sounding conversation with presumably Coil. And Taylor comes over and sees on her computer that an email is pulled up. An email that's been sent anonymously to Lisa and several news stations and several other people in Brockton Bay, containing an extensive doxxing of all of the members of Empire 88. Kaiser, Purity, their lieutenants, even some unpowered captains and other people in the gang, just going through their real identities, lots of personal information about them and their families. And Taylor's immediately like, oh no, this is really bad. She confirms with Lisa that Coil did this and that Lisa helped. Lisa gets off the phone to clarify, yes, I did help, but I didn't want Coil to do this. I didn't know he was going to do this. I think this is going way too far. Releasing people's identities is one thing, but going after their families is another. It's totally outside the unspoken rules of being a cape, and I don't like it. And they try to figure out, like, well, why didn't you guys answer your phone? Lisa needed to get new batteries in her phone, and Alec was being Alec and just not looking. And Taylor's like, okay, this is so bad. This is so bad. Did Coil set us up, with the timing of this? And Lisa doesn't totally understand what she means, but she's like, this isn't Coil's power. This is just a coincidence, whatever you're realizing. And Taylor lays it out. So, just now, Bitch and Empire 88 and Skitter got into a fight. And at about the same time, this anonymous email went out, doxing Empire 88. And every member of Empire 88 is going to be looking for a fight to come after who did this. And they know who we are, and they know that we have somebody like Lisa on our team who's really good at figuring things out. And all of that stuff is going to put a huge target on our back. And everybody in the loft is like, ooh. And that's the note that we end the chapter on.
All right. Ooh is the note. Yeah, so kind of a wild development. I feel like I don't really mind doxing white supremacists. Like, that kind of seems fine. But I do see how, in an immediate practical sense, it's really bad for the Undersiders that it happened at this particular moment. And that it's going to point to them because of Lisa. And yeah, it's definitely an escalation that it sounds like they weren't really warned was going to happen and they weren't really able to prepare for.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Like, they weren't doxed, so it's possible that Empire 88 doesn't know, like, where to find them immediately, but they do know where to find Bitch.
Yeah.
Who's still with the dogs at the warehouse. And, like, how long can it really take before the leaders of Empire 88 figure out that this email was sent and decide to make a move against the Undersiders?
Yeah.
Like, they might not know. Like, I doubt that the Empire 88 minions are going to tell Kaiser immediately, like, yeah, we tried to attack Bitch, and then, like, she, bitch slapped us.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they need medical help for that kid,
that's true, and they could say that the other side started.
It's also the kind of thing, right? The other side started it, and you can tell stories about how scary it was and how awful. Try and make yourself look good by lying about what happened. They
need to get to Bitch right away. I'm really worried. I mean, to be fair, Bitch doesn't need a villain origin story because she's already a villain, but. There are degrees of being a villain, and I'm very concerned that they're going to, kill all the dogs, and maybe that'll be the thing that makes her decide to side with Coil. That's certainly more dramatic than just, we need to move all the dogs, Coil can help us.
Yeah.
So hopefully they won't kill all the dogs, because that would be really sad. I mean, I assume they're not at least going to kill the 3 that we know, her 3 fighting dogs. But I wouldn't be surprised if there were some dog casualties.
That would be really, really sad.
Yeah, well, you're the one who made me read this book. So if there are dog casualties, it's your fault.
All right, I'll take that on. That's my burden to carry.
Yeah.
You were speculating, the action this arc might be oh, Coil has another job for them. And this is kind of the worst possible version of that.
Coil's dropping a bomb in the middle of Empire 88.
Right. It's not for the Undersiders, but due
Coil
to
is bringing trouble,
coincidences, they are now in a lot of trouble and may end up fighting Empire 88. I mean, we'll see.
That would be so exciting.
Now, do you buy that Coil's not involved? Because you've also been speculating about his involvement in things behind the scenes, and Taylor lays that out in this chapter.
That Coil's not involved?
Right. Taylor's like,
wait.
This...
Oh, I think that Lisa was saying Coil didn't do this as a way to put pressure on us.
Yes.
I mean, Coil was involved. He sent the email.
Fair. Bad question on my part. I mean, do you buy that Coil is not trying to, mess with the Undersiders here? I'm just saying, because this was kind of your theory, that he's been, maybe puppet mastering, and here's Lisa being like, no, this isn't how it works. Taylor, you're being paranoid.
I do buy that he didn't do this on purpose because, like, I think Lisa's probably right that this lacks finesse. But also, he didn't know that the Undersiders were going to get... Like, it was, like, minor minions of Kaiser's who, like, picked a fight with Bitch. Like, I really don't think Coil could have made that happen unless that's how his power works. We really don't know how his power works. Lisa says that isn't how his power works. Yeah. So, she has the most information of any of us right now, so...
That's fair. We can defer to her. Trust Lisa.
Yeah. I think also, I mean, she's saying that Coil assumes they'll say yes, so he doesn't need to put this pressure on them. I don't know if that is true, because Coil is someone who likes to have backup plans and doesn't like to assume that any of the pieces will fall into place the way he wants them to.
Right.
But I do buy that this would be a pretty ham-handed way of putting pressure on them. I don't know. At
the very least, Wildbow is pulling some narrative strings.
No, that's true. And especially on Bitch, who has all these dogs to protect. Yeah. Lisa, I mean, it's possible she just doesn't want to believe that he would do this. I feel like some of her naivete is getting punctured in this, where she's like, no, you can't dox them. It's the unspoken rules. Mm-hmm. And, like, is she finally learning that the unspoken rules are fake? I don't know. But I do think this is going to be the start of a pattern for her especially, or a process maybe, where she learns that, okay, she's willing to support Coil. For the most part, he has acted thus far in a way that she is on board with. But as he gains power, as his plan comes to fruition, he may start doing things that she doesn't agree with, such as this. How's she going to deal with that? She doesn't have the ability to stop him if she fully throws in with him the way they're all contemplating doing. He has said he wants to be held accountable. To what extent is that really going to happen?
Yeah, that's a great point.
She's sort of been thrilled with this, like, haha, I wasn't telling you guys, but, like, Coil, isn't he great? Right. He's going to do all this
now we have a seat at the table. We'll have influence.
Yeah. And then the first thing her team says no, first of all. But then one of the first things Coil does after that big reveal is something that she's not on board with. And, like, where are her lines? She's someone who wants to believe that all of this stuff is, like, low stakes, fun and games. Which makes me think that she believes that because she needs to in order to be part of the scene, right?
Right.
Which means that, like, if it weren't low stakes, if there were real questions of morality involved, she wouldn't be comfortable with it. So she's sort of lying to herself, but, like, she needs to lie to herself because she does have a conscience, because she does care about this stuff in theory. And so what's she going to do if the lie falls apart and she realizes that, like, oh, actually what we're doing has these big moral stakes. Do I need to actually take a moral stance?
Yeah. And we don't know anything about Lisa. We can probably say Alec and Bitch aren't threatened by this crossing of the line, but Brian and Taylor both have people in their lives who they care a lot about protecting.
Right. Bitch has the dogs who are not going to be doxxed. There's no such thing as doxing. And, I mean, Alec hates his family and their capes anyway, so...
Yeah. What Lisa appears to be saying to Coil is something like, my moral convictions are that, capes are fair game, but their families are not.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that seems to be something that she's saying here. And then sort of on a similar theme, Lisa in this chapter, when they bust into the loft, darkness going, Taylor's covered in bugs because she doesn't have a costume. Lisa gives them a weird look. And then Lisa keeps being like, the way Taylor reacts to the email is so negative. Lisa's like, something isn't, like, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's really fun to see her not have the information.
Right.
And even at the end, I think Lisa gets it before Taylor explains it, but to give Taylor the moment of exposition where she's like, I came from this fight with Bitch.
Right.
I just learned, I saw the email, I'm putting it together. I'm the one who's explaining. Like, she knows enough about everyone's motivations that she can be like, I don't need your power to be able to put together how bad this is for us.
Well, it is interesting that Lisa doesn't know immediately what happened to Brian and Taylor, even though I think she could know. But I think this is something that has her thrown enough. Like, sort of the values of her chosen life being cast into disarray, that she's probably not able to really focus her power on them in that moment when they come in.
I also wonder how true it is that Lisa didn't help. I mean, it's probably not that she knew this was going to happen, but I do feel like when Taylor's like, so you helped him, right? She says, only a little. And then she goes on a really detailed explanation about like, well, I gave him some ideas and some thoughts. You know, I helped him eliminate some possibilities, but then he used private investigators. Like the rest of it wasn't
Lisa,
on me. And
yeah.
I wonder how much that she is trying to look good to Taylor and Brian and Alec versus
trying to justify it to herself.
Dispassionately relaying, no, it's I couldn't have known. Of course, Coil tricked me, but yeah. I do suspect that she would have really enjoyed this as a puzzle, figuring out who they are.
Of course,
right?
She loves using her power, yeah.
Right, without maybe necessarily
and she probably
thinking
loves showing
through
off for Coil.
All of the consequences.
Yeah. It really is hard for me to have a problem with this. I mean, the families of Empire 88 are probably by and large innocent. I mean, certainly the children. Can't blame them for being born to Empire 88 members. But, like, I feel like revealing their identities, it's not really... Like, if you're going to be white supremacist supervillains and someone reveals your identity and, like, something happens to your children because of it, like, that's not the fault of the person who revealed your identity. That's your fault for being a white supremacist supervillain. Like, it's hard... I don't know. It's...
my comment on that is just that Lisa does not care in the text as much that they're white supremacists, right? She sees them as a family of capes, and that this is about, the unspoken code between capes.
Right,
and
right.
The ideology is like it's their
rules,
flavor or something. Whereas it's much easier for me, and I assume you, to think about like a real world, real world neo-Nazis and stuff.
Right. I think to us, because of the reality of neo-Nazis, like Empire 88 seems much more, their evil seems a lot realer than the other supervillains.
I mean, you can sort of take it both ways. You can take it the way that you were saying, sort of like you ascribe to this hateful ideology and you should be ashamed of that, and that should have personal consequences, versus the maybe maximalist cops and robbers perspective of like, well, part of the, at least is saying, so part of the game is that, you get to put on the funny snake costume and no one knows your real name.
I mean, really, she doesn't want the rules to change. And I think it is certainly worth saying, in a practical sense, was this a good move strategically?
Yeah.
Whether or not you think it's okay morally to dox neo-Nazis, like, was this a smart move?
Yeah. It's interesting because the response that it invites is not what happened to Loom and Bakuda and Oni Lee in Arc 5, where it's like, oh, everybody's going to gang up on them because they've been acting out of line. The response that this invites is like the authorities, the non-Cape authorities, to take some kind of action, to like charge civilians with crimes related to their villain act, which is not at all what the story has been about so far, or like the action has been about so far. Mm-hmm. So it's a really interesting move to bring in this whole other element. I mean, we got a little bit of
it's what Coil said. Coil's
Canary.
like, I want to rule everything. I don't just want to rule the Cape world. He doesn't see the need to confine his activities to Cape versus Cape. And I think that is going to be an issue for Lisa.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. Just sort of the threat to the concept of the status quo and the unwritten rules seems to be the thing that is really throwing Lisa for a loop.
Yeah, and I think it's probably bringing home to her that, like, oh, if Coil does stuff I don't agree with, like, there's nothing I can do.
Right.
Especially because she is a Cape whose power is knowledge, and so she's never going to be able to strike back directly. And she used her power for him to enable this. So she would have to really dig in and do a lot of, prep work. Like, if she wanted to actually have leverage over Coil, that would be a very difficult project, and not one it seems like she's wanted to undertake in any way. So, like, she must feel very vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so obviously this whole doxing plot, which I'm pretty sure the word did not exist at the time, so it's fun to be able to apply it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it had been coined, but definitely wasn't popular. Yeah.
This whole doxing plot, it's all great, but I think we should talk about the real meat of this chapter, which is how Bitch and Taylor are falling in love.
Yes, please.
This scene between them at the warehouse, if there are not 1,000 pieces of fan fiction about this, like, what are people even doing? What are they doing?
Are you talking about Bitch's advice?
Yes. I'm talking about Bitch's reaction. So here's Bitch. You know, she's been hanging out with this girl who's kind of intriguing, a little weird, not quite, not quite the way people usually interact with her. There's like a little bit of a rapport. Obviously, she's still putting up a gruff exterior, but like there's some intrigue there. They've started to connect a little bit, and
they're shooting the shit, digging through the shit.
Exactly. And then she sees Taylor around Brian, and she's like, "Oh, she likes him." Imagine the blow that Bitch is receiving in this moment.
I should just say, this is how Taylor gives herself away. Brian says, "I'll call Coil," and he starts to walk around the building. "All right," I said. As he turned to leave, I raised my hand in the lamest little goodbye wave ever. Even though I was pretty sure he didn't see it, I was left mentally kicking myself for doing it. I glanced at Bitch, who was giving me a peculiar look.
Yeah, and Bitch, who finds she can read Taylor better than she can read most people. Yeah. She's like, "Oh, I see it. She likes him." And then Taylor confirms that she likes him. Bitch just turns to head back inside. And then Taylor says after her, "Do you like him?" Taylor, you've misread the situation. No. I mean, to be clear, I'm completely projecting onto this text. Like, I think there are many ways to interpret this scene, but I really like the interpretation where Bitch is like, "Crap, she's into that guy. Well,
she turned
now
her head
my hopes are ruined."
An angry look, right? One I couldn't read in the slightest.
And she's like, "No, you idiot. I like you," is what she's thinking. And Taylor's like, "'Cause if you do, I'll back off. You were here first." And then Bitch, who always pushes people away before they can leave her, says, "You should offer to sleep with him." Which, first of all, is such a defensive move of like, I don't care. You should just go sleep with him. But also, this whole thing about like, it's what guys want. Tell him you're available if he ever wants to fuck. And like, this whole strategic thing about like how to give guys what they want, this reads like someone who doesn't actually want to sleep with guys. Like, this reads like someone who isn't into guys, but, like, knows what they want. And sex with guys is, like, an instrument to get guys to do, you know, get guys to like you, get guys to be on your side or whatever, but, like, not something that that she would ever want. And then they have this whole thing where Taylor's like, "It's more complicated than that. It's complicated because people make it complicated. Just cut the bullshit and go for it."
Maybe she should take her own advice.
Well, maybe she was going to, but now she sees that it's hopeless. Yeah. And then she's just blowing it off. Whatever. Don't care if you do.
I really like that interpretation.
And then Taylor also has this thought about like, wow, she was actually offering me advice. That's like, along with her telling Armsmaster that she thought that Taylor could kick his ass, like, this is like the nicest thing that she's ever done for me. And it's just so heartbreaking that she likes Taylor, and in this moment of knowing she can't have her, still reaches out to do something good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I recognize there are many other interpretations of this scene, such as Bitch just recognizing that Taylor's into Brian and not particularly caring about it. But I think that every BitchBug fic needs to have this scene from Bitch's point of view.
Yeah.
Interpreting it as like, no, she's mad because she's just like sorely disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really nice way that Wildbow writes, giving the descriptions of Bitch's body language, but not having Bitch, you know, just narrate exactly how she's feeling. It would be out of character for her. That's not what people do anyway. So you really can just like sit with these couple of pages and you kind of know what's going on with Taylor. Like Taylor tends to think through her thought processes, even if she's not always being as emotionally honest with herself as she could be. But, like, there is no textual answer to why Bitch is angry, why Bitch is tense. And so it's...
And then she
really
tells Taylor to go off
text.
with Brian. She's like, I'm sick of, you know, I don't need babysitting, and I'm getting annoyed being badgered by you two. Taylor goes with you, which could be her not wanting Taylor around after having been so disappointed in Taylor's affections being elsewhere. I mean, my interpretation is airtight.
I mean... I don't have any, like, I don't think there are counterexamples
No, and the possibility is definitely there. Yeah.
I will say, even putting the the shipping aside, from Taylor's perspective, it is so real and speaks so much to her connection with Bitch that the fact that she is working on this relationship and Bitch just is very directly, you like him, Taylor feels that she cannot lie.
Yeah.
Right? That is such a testament to the friendship and goodwill that she has towards her.
I wasn't sure I could afford to come across as dishonest or two-faced with her. It's such a great dynamic that Taylor is intentionally investing in. Like, oh no, I need to be honest with her.
Yeah, and she confesses, like, I don't know that she's thought in her inner monologue that she likes Brian, right?
Yeah, and she's certainly didn't admit it to Lisa.
Skirted around it.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, oh, what are these feelings? Like, oh, what's this idea you've put into my head, Lisa? And here she's like, yeah, I like him, right?
Yeah.
Bitch just confronts her with it, and she knows that she needs to be honest to Bitch, and she just opens right back up. It's a really beautiful moment.
And it connects to what Bitch says a little bit later about, like, no, people make things too complicated. Like, just cut the bullshit. And that is the relationship that they are building. It's one where they don't make things complicated, even though Taylor is someone who complicates everything in her head. Her connection with Bitch is one that's based on simplicity and honesty and cutting through all that.
Yeah.
And that's just really great. And that's why they're going to fall in love.
Yeah. Oh, I would love that for them.
Yeah.
I will say, I think your read of the scene also, there's something that is very true about how Bitch feels, whether or not there's a romantic or sexual desire under there. It's possible that she's just recognizing in Taylor a kind of connection that either she doesn't feel or that she thinks is unavailable to her.
Mm-hmm.
She's just kind of having a moment of like, oh yeah, you know, like...
it's not because she'll be with Taylor.
No, right, but it could just be like, oh yeah, Taylor's like, she's not like me. She can have like a normal relationship and... You know, she wants to, like, sleep with guys and, like, do that thing that people do. And, like, that situation, maybe Bitch is interested in it and doesn't know how to get it. Maybe she's not interested in it. Yeah. Maybe she's into women and not men, right? Like, but for whatever reason, it feels inaccessible. And it's kind of a reminder of how different they are. And she's just trying to reach across that gap with some, you know, very practical advice.
And also, I assume advice from her, you know, personal history. Like, it sounds like she probably has instrumentalized sex with guys in this way.
Yeah, that seems likely.
Yeah.
Do you think Taylor should take her advice where Brian is concerned?
No. I don't think Taylor would want to sleep with him at this point. Like, what if he said yes? She's definitely not ready for that.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that there's a question of it seems clear Taylor wouldn't be into hookups. There's a question of what Brian would be into hookups.
That's a good question. You know. I think he would be too smart to hook up with a member of his team.
Yeah.
Like,
but when it comes to a relationship, he also might be like, I'm focusing on myself and my family right now.
He also might choose to not have a relationship right now.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. I think if Taylor did decide she wanted a relationship with him, I think it wouldn't be bad advice for her to say that to him. He might say no. But I think telling him that she would sleep with him would not get her what she wants.
Yeah, it's interesting. I can kind of imagine her, like, she's written a 5-paragraph essay, like, explaining why it's a good idea. It's sort of the light slowly draining out of his eyes as he hears her talk about this. Yeah, I don't think it's great advice for Taylor or for Brian.
I think that if they started something up, it would need to be a little bit slower, I think. Yeah. So, speaking of Brian, should we talk about this conversation that he has with Taylor about Bitch and authority?
Yeah. What did you make of this?
Yeah, it's notable for both of their characters that Brian is like, what the heck? You managed to, like, figure out a way to reach her? Like, how are you would go hang out with her again? What is this? I've been working with her for, like, 10 months and I haven't gotten anywhere. Yeah. Like, first of all, yeah, that's because you're really bad at it, dude. Like, you've been so bad at it. But I think it also, like, I think Bitch is a very challenging person. I think many people would be bad at it. It's not just that, like, Brian is a failure, you know? interpersonal communication. I think it's more that Taylor is doing really, really well.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, she's figured out a way through the dog psychology thing, a way to view Bitch that was kind of like a key to unlock it. And she relays some of that back to Brian here without kind of betraying Bitch's secret to him. She says something like, her personality demands that she test authority, especially when she's insecure. Mm-hmm. And she says sort of like, she's probably gotten easier to deal with over the past year. Think of how many years she went by without parents, teachers, bosses. It's just a really slow adjustment period, and she'll probably get there. And then this piece of advice that he should become the official leader.
I do think that's probably true that would help with Bitch, because if she views the world through sort of the dog hierarchy thing, like you want to be clear on who's leading here.
Yeah.
And that's something that like certainly we saw through her dogs when we were in the Brutus point of view, like Bitch is in charge and they follow her.
Yeah.
And I think it would be easier for her to know that he's in charge.
Yeah.
And like she'd probably push back against that, and if he managed to withstand that pushing, she would probably calm down a lot.
Yeah. And I think we see a little bit of that in this chapter when he first arrives, because I feel like they immediately get into some friction when he shows up, right? He's like, there were bullet holes and you're still here. Mm-hmm. Bitch says, that's my call. And he's like, that's a bad call. And she says, I'm not leaving. And he says, is your pride or stubbornness worth getting those dogs hurt? And she scowls.
Yeah.
And what just clicked for me is like, he's sort of like Socratic methoding her here. He's like trying to, get her to understand or like admit that he's right and she's wrong. But he's not just like barking orders. And that is, if he had that card to play, I could see that being much more effective than just kind of his like cajoling, like constantly being like, why don't you understand? Why aren't you making better decisions? Instead of just like, meeting her where she is and saying like, yep, sometimes you got to do what I say. And this is what I say.
I'm in charge and I'll fight you for it. And he probably could fight her for it pretty well. Yeah. And I think she would feel like the way she feels more at peace with Taylor now, because they fought at various points to a more balanced relationship. I think he should probably take this advice. I also was noticing in this chapter that both this comes up and the question of like, we can't let Empire 88 get away with this thing where some of their minions were attacking Bitch, like, oh, they're coming after one of us. If we don't do something about it, like, they're encroaching on this territory. If we don't do something about it, we'll lose our reputation. That'll be really dangerous. They're getting to a point where they have to start holding territory, which is not something they've ever done before, but they've been so much higher profile in the villain world. Getting involved in the fight against the ABB has raised their profile such that they can't just be a group of teens who hang out in a loft and then rob banks sometimes. Like, they need to protect the reputation that they've gained. And it's a little bit like that time in a startup where suddenly you realize you need actual HR. Like, it's like, now they might need to start holding territory and not just being chill about like, we don't need space, we just have a loft, it's cool. And they might need an actual leader rather than just deciding everything by discussion.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And that's sort of, there is no steady state, right? You sort of like Taylor's like, oh, I want to hang out with my friends, like just the way that I've been doing for the past month. But month 2 is going to be different. Yeah. And month 3 is going to be different. Yeah. And there's sort of, like you're saying, moving up in the villain world.
Right.
The type of stuff they're going to have to do is just going to change naturally.
Even if they don't take Coil up on his offer, they're going to have to defend territory a little bit anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that where they are is sustainable without saying yes to Coil.
Yeah.
Like, Coil is kind of like, no, you can keep doing your thing, but I don't think they can.
Yeah, certainly not. Right, I think we were talking last chapter, the situation with Bitch and the dogs is just not...
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's not going to work out.
Yeah. And Coil is clearly escalating things with Empire 88, and they're going to get caught in that crossfire. If they don't side with him, I think they'd probably have to disband.
Yeah, that's probably true.
To go their own ways. Which would be really interesting. I wonder what Taylor would do if that happened.
Ooh.
I think without the draw of this found family, like this group of friends, because I mean, it really is about friendship, not family for her, because she does have Danny. Like, without the draw of this group of friends, I think it would be much harder for her to justify going to, like, work for Coil or something.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But I also don't think she would be okay just, like, going back to live with Danny and, like, going to school. Like, that's not... She needs this thing in her life to give her meaning and validation outside of this horrible school bully situation.
Right. She's not going to go turn herself into Arms Master, right? There's no...
No. I guess that would be another option. Yeah. Maybe to Arms Master's successor.
Yes, the new sexy hero who's coming to town this arc. I can't wait to meet them.
She just needs to be homeschooled is the situation. Like, really, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's completely unworkable for her to go to that high school.
Is there, like,
She's
an online program for the wards?
Well, the social worker was saying Taylor is too young for the online program Brian is doing, so maybe if she were, like, 16, she could be doing it or something. I don't know. But, like, homeschooling is a thing. Like, you'd think that Danny could be like, yeah, I'm homeschooling her.
Yeah.
And, like,
that's a great fix for Taylor. It's not a great fix for Skitter. You know,
no, but yeah,
saying,
she needs to use her power to make the town better.
Yeah.
And I don't think she'd be able to resist doing that. Like, I think she's hooked, not because she's been, like, on the scene and has gotten addicted to it, but just because, for the same reason she went out in the first place.
Yeah.
She needs this purpose, and she needs the exciting activity also that, like, feels like she's doing something rather than just being passive at school.
Yeah.
Like, she can't just hole up in her house and, like, study algebra for the next 2 years. Like, no. Yeah, so anyway, all that to say, the Undersiders are reaching a natural inflection point in their growth. They're gonna have to, be in or out.
And you think they'll be in?
Oh, I think they'll be in. Otherwise,
they'll be in all
what
the
is
way.
the story going to do?
What are we doing? What are we doing here?
It would be a wild twist, like it would have been if Taylor had turned them in. But, yeah. I think Bitch is going to end up saying yes because of what goes down with Coil and Empire 88 in this arc.
Yeah.
Either because some dogs get killed and she has a real, not exactly a heel turn moment. Again, just like a real escalation of her villainy.
Yeah.
Healer turn. Either that or Coil is able to help her. It's just really close, and they're able to save the dogs, but only because of sort of lots of people working together, and she is either grateful or just recognizes the necessity and, how much better it is to have sort of more allies.
Yeah.
Because she is sort of able to reach the smaller version of that conclusion here when Taylor's talking to her, and it's like, I mean, yeah, you could go it alone here, maybe, but, like, why not rely on us? Like, why not, save the dogs now, and then we'll work together to get these guys.
Yeah.
And Taylor does specifically frame it, I think, as like no, go it with us. Throw in with us for this. Like, don't try to do this on your own.
Right.
So I think possibly that is, a smaller version of where Bitch will get to by the end of this arc, or, at least by the end of the week.
Yeah. And I thought that advice was interesting. One, I mean, connecting to the Brian point, Taylor lays that out, come with us. And it's very telling that Bitch looks to Brian, basically saying, like, I'm hearing from Taylor that the Undersiders as a group are going to go after them, but I want to hear it from you too, right? In his sort of quasi-authority figure status.
Right, like we are going to deal with them? Yeah.
Right. But also that Taylor's advice is very much like, no, you're not hiding. We're not going to let them get away with this. It's the opposite of the tack that she was taking with her bullies. Right? Mm-hmm. She's sort of saying, like, it's a strategic retreat, but we'll come back later and we'll come back at them harder.
Yeah.
In a way that was so different from Arc 1 Taylor just trying to get by and, not make any waves.
Well, I remember her thinking in, was it Arc 2 or something, where the girls were coming at her in the hallway, and it was like, the 9 of them insulting her, and she was like, I just wish we could have a fist fight, and, like, it could be out in the open and we could get it over with.
Yeah.
And this is that. I mean, there were already gunshots fired. It is a full-on fight. It's not like... Because with the bullying thing, like, she could survive anything that happened because they weren't going to physically hurt her in a serious way.
Right.
So...
The life and death stakes.
Yeah. The fact that this is, they're not only her and not only Bitch, but also all these dogs are actually going to be physically hurt. They cannot survive the passive route. Like, that's why she wants the Cape World, because people do stuff.
Yeah.
And because she can go into her, like, I do what needs to be done mode, and And people are strong enough to meet her there.
Yeah, yeah.
Strong enough for her not to feel like, oh no, I've done horrible things to these people who couldn't resist me.
Yeah, and I feel like Taylor does such a good job in that opening conversation with Bitch. Just like, she explicitly thinks about how she has to keep her temper. She's taking Bitch from kind of this like, oh, well, she's arguing with Brian. She's feeling like we're saying she's a coward and trying to reframe things like, it's protective and like, I've been there, right? Showing some empathy, right? She really is displaying, even since when they were fighting together in Arc 5, I feel like she's really come a long way with like just persuading Bitch, trying to move her in the direction she wants her. Yeah.
As a side note, I also think Taylor's going to have a lot more instances of needing to cover her face with bugs. Despite the fact that she does not seem to be about to have her eyes gouged out, I think she's still going to have the sort of terrifying face full of bugs look. Not the empty eye sockets, I guess.
She just needs to have more backup costumes.
Well, yeah, she should probably bring her costume with her. But, the fact that she does it a second time here, where they're going in the loft and they don't know what they'll see, and she's like, fine, I'll cover my face with bugs again. Like, in her narration, like, she just does it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen a lot more often.
Yeah.
I also love the bit where she realizes there's no immediate crisis and she moves the bugs from her face to her back where they can just like sit on her shirt.
Ooh. Yeah.
Just like they won't be on skin. They'll be ready if I need them.
Yeah. There's
so
also,
creepy.
right, we were saying
so
like,
good.
Lisa's like, what are they doing here? But she's also like, why does Taylor have bugs on her face?
Yes. Brian shrouded in darkness, Taylor shrouded in bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, so one thing that I thought was interesting about Brian's reaction, he doesn't take the advice like very seriously in this chapter. He like Taylor's like, you should be an official leader and here's what's going on with Bitch. And he's kind of like, oh, I'm impressed that you figured that out. But like, I gotta wait longer. He kind of goes like, oh man, like this is annoying. Which it's a little bit like he's opening up and kind of showing some camaraderie, being like, oh, this is so annoying. Don't you see that, Taylor? But it's also a little bit like, I feel like Taylor's like really trying to give him some good advice. And maybe he's like, no, I just wanted to kind of vent a little bit. I kind of wanted to vent a little bit about Bitch.
Well, it's interesting he doesn't address the thing about he should maybe officially be in charge.
Yeah.
I wonder what his thoughts are about that. Like, is it just sort of a like modesty thing where it's like, well, I can't say that I should be in charge because like people would just argue with me. Like, I can't seem like I want that authority, but he does want it. Does he not want it for some reason? Like,
yeah, it's also, this is another instance of now that Taylor's all in on the Undersiders, she's like trying to change things, right? She's like, no, Brian, you should lead, like, right, like, which I don't think she would have said an arc ago.
No, that's true. Yeah, right. She was just kind of trying to observe and keep everyone alive, and yeah, now she's making moves. I mean, I don't think she would have gone with Bitch an arc ago either.
So true.
Oh, we should mention this moment. It's one of the few times that race explicitly comes up, and actually the text calls that out.
Oh, yeah. Brian he's dunking on Kaiser because he's like, well, at the meeting, Kaiser was like, you can't keep your people under control. And isn't it ironic that now he can't keep his people under control? And Taylor
just kind of observes like, yeah, well, Coil's upping the pressure. I bet he has his hands full. And Brian's like, oh, you're defending him? Which is funny because like it didn't really seem like a defense really very much, but like I can see how Brian might be sensitive to anyone defending Kaiser.
I mean, the moment it makes me think of is in the last chapter, Bitch is like, maybe it would be better if dogs have trigger events. And Taylor's like, I don't agree with that, but I understand where Bitch is coming from. And in this moment, the right thing to do is to say, yeah.
Yeah.
And here, she is not on the same wavelength as Brian at all.
Yeah.
Like, she's very willing to, actually.
Right,
puts her foot in a very
because
white way.
Brian's kind of being like, haha, look what he's doing. And Taylor's like, oh, this is probably the reason for it. And Brian's like, what, you're defending him?
Yeah.
It's just very, like, her response was very tone deaf.
Exactly.
Even though I don't think she was really trying to defend him, but, like, she wasn't matching his mood at all. And she says, it wasn't often that I felt acutely aware of the difference in our skin colors, but being asked if I was making excuses for the white supremacist supervillain was one of those moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't want to underestimate him is all, which was a pretty diplomatic way to get out of that.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting that Brian is right about their rep, but I wonder if he's motivated by just like wanting a personal victory over Kaiser.
Oh,
right?
definitely.
Like, considering how terribly he was treated
Yeah.
and how awful it must have felt to be at that meeting.
Yeah.
Right. The idea of like, hey, actually now I have a card to play and I can be the one who's like, oh, it's nothing personal, but you know, your guys came after me.
Yeah.
And,
what, you don't have them under
what
control?
Do you owe me?
Yeah.
What do you owe me, man? You know, like, and I totally see why he is focused and excited about that possibility. It's also being tone deaf about race and the white supremacist plague upon Brockton Bay is very in character with the Taylor we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like this is going to be the first time that Brian has clocked this about her.
That's a good
so
point.
I think this could also be
to that.
Well, it could also be him pointing it out more actively, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of being like, hey.
Yeah.
Like, this hasn't come up directly yet, but hey.
Right. He might be responding to a larger sort of swath of comments she's made.
Yeah.
And be sort of primed to see her as like having this sort of neutral stance on the white supremacists.
Yeah, definitely a moment worth reflecting on.
Yeah.
There was one other detail. I mean, there are a lot of details that come up in the doxxing, but one detail that is different from what we had been speculating is that Empire 88 is a family affair and not something that Kaiser started.
Well, we knew Kaiser didn't start it because we heard about him taking over in a recent chapter.
I guess.
But we didn't know it was from his father.
Right. It's fascinating to me that he inherited his cult because I feel like it undermines his like, oh, I'm so charismatic, I'm such a like natural leader type of thing. It's like, oh, you're also a Nepo baby. Right,
yeah. Either that or he defeated his father, sort of Lex Luthor style.
Sure, yeah, I guess we don't know.
I wasn't sure if, I mean, I guess Allfather is a cape name, but I wasn't sure if Richard Anders was a cape or not. Because it did kind of sound like when Kaiser took over, that's when it became like a more superpowered affair. So it's possible he was just Allfather because he was like founding this white supremacist organization. It could be more of a title within that white supremacy world than a cape title.
I feel like I may have spoiled it just by asking you about the name.
That's true. Okay.
We don't know.
Yeah.
You're right that we don't know. I mean, and I'm not perfect. I don't know. We certainly don't learn about his powers and how many people's fathers he actually is.
Good point. It does seem like Richard Anders is either completely out of the scene or dead because he is not one of the people who's doxxed. I was entertained that Purity was far mousier than Taylor would have thought.
Yeah. It's a really interesting note for her character, I feel like, especially because her power is like her whole body glows. Turns into this like
the
glowing
sheer presence
of,
she had in
of the
costume,
idea of whiteness.
Taylor says.
And she doesn't match up to her own like, Nazi ideal of beauty or whatever. Do you have any predictions about where things are going to go from here?
I think things are going to go back to the dog warehouse, and I think we're going to have a firefight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be all of Empire 88 immediately attacking Bitch and the dogs at the warehouse, but I think it's going to be some of them, and I think things are going to build, and I think somehow the outcome of it is going to result in them deciding to side with Coil.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Big fight.
And I think at least one dog will get seriously injured.
No, I don't like that prediction.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like I said, you made me read this book, so it's your fault.
Yep. It's the sword is over my head.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
The sword is actually over a dog's head, and it's going to be your fault when the dog gets stabbed.
Don't put it like that. That's terrible.
It is terrible.
Do you want to hear the first sentence of 7.5?
So there are no new cape names?
There are no
new
cape names.
All right.
It's too dangerous to stay here, Brian
said. That's interesting because I was assuming that no one knew where the loft was, but gotta assume Empire 88 has its own resources for espionage, so Brian makes a great point. They better get back to Bitch, but of course Empire 88 definitely knows where Bitch is, or at least where that dog warehouse is, so things are gonna get messy.
Ooh, well...
Also, Alec isn't gonna want to leave. It's just like, all his stuff is here. And Lisa's not going to want to leave because she thinks that she'll be able to tell if there's danger coming.
Yeah.
Taylor will want to leave.
All right. So Brian and Taylor leave. We'll split the party further and further.
No, I think they'll all leave.
Yeah.
But Alec might bring some of his Earth Aleph media with him. Or at least have to be convinced not to.
That's perfect.
He can buy it again. He has $250,000 in a bank account.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wildbow has been highly restrained in not having Alec make references to Earth Aleph movies this whole time.
Maybe he has been, but Taylor just hasn't clocked any of them, so she hasn't put them in her narrations. Alec is just over there mumbling about, like, Zorkas and Bungo would never have done this.
Exactly.
Like, they would have been so much cooler in this situation.
Yeah. Classic Zorkas. All right, I think we're done here.
That's it. Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens to the dogs next time.
On Inchworm. Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.